drive to Heidi Lee Lane there in Fort Myers. We have a photographer there on scene. He tells us that there is crime scene tape that's surrounding that area and also surrounding another car in a driveway nearby. Lee County Sheriff's Office is advising drivers to seek an alternate route until further notice. Again, we do have a photographer there on scene. You are looking at breaking news as the area is closed down there on San Carlos Boulevard. LCSO says they will provide updates as they become available. And tonight we have a new warning from the Glades County Sheriff's Office. A brush fire in the area of Fish Eating Creek is causing some heavy smoke and making it hard to see on State Road 78 East. Florida Highway Patrol and the Department of Transportation is currently redirecting traffic. Now, the Sheriff's Office says that you can expect delays and road closures as first responders work to try to contain that burn. Now, this comes after Lehigh Acres Fire Control District fought a brush fire off of Ebert Street yesterday. You're looking at photos that were sent to us from a viewer into our Fox 4 newsroom. The Fire Control District says the fire you see here was about 2 acres large and spread pretty quickly and even threatened a structure. The Fire District says they were able to put that brush fire out within hours. And right now, let's give you a live look right now outside, and we want to get right to Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley, because Andrew, we know it's been dry weather that's been fueling that brush fire, but it sounds like we could see some more rain coming up in the forecast soon. Yeah, it's gonna be a pretty active week, Elise, and even tonight we've been seeing some showers and thunderstorms out there over the last hour. You can see those are starting to fizzle out, but still some showers down near Immokalee Road for us at this time. But we did get some decent rain here tonight over the last 12 hours. You can see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches up towards Babcock Ranch and up towards Tucker's Grade, and then even towards Manatee Park. We've also seen some of that into the Lehigh Acres area. So some pockets of showers here tonight, but obviously that helps us because Lee and Charlotte counties are some of the drier counties in our area. Obviously, we're going to be tracking more rain. That starts tomorrow. So over the next couple hours here, we'll be seeing increasing rain chances into tomorrow morning. Looking at scattered showers and storms and tomorrow afternoon. A time it out for you coming up in just a few minutes. Andrew, thank you so much. So new this hour, a mother's holding onto hope after finding her son's killer. So we're talking about Desmond Jones. He was 13 years old when he was shot and killed back in 2011. Now the Fort Myers Police Department is taking over this investigation. We know that our Fox 4's Brianna Brownlee, you're joining us now. You've spoken to the mother. You know, you've been going through this investigation. What else can you tell us tonight?
Yes, Elise, this upcoming week will mark 12 years since Desmond Jones was shot. Now, since the night Desmond Jones was shot in the head while visiting a friend, the cold case unit is now investigating this unsolved murder case. Despite all of the years that have gone by, one of the investigators on the case tells me they are extremely optimistic. As for Desmond's mother, she's still holding on to hope.
11 years ago, angry. I was angry.
The emotion Danae Henley remembers feeling right after seeing her youngest child and only son lying lifeless on the pavement with a blood-stained sheet over him after being fatally shot.
Take him away. Take him away. He was 13. He a child like you.
He was a 13-year-old boy, not doing anything wrong, doing what 13-year-olds do out in his neighborhood, fairly benign, you know, hanging out with his friends and associates, and he was met by gunfire.
Desmond was barely in his teen years when he was shot in the head in front of this lot, which used to be a home, while visiting a friend. And that night, when his family arrived, they held out hope that it wasn't him.
I said, it might not be him. That's it, and that might not be him. That might not be him.
But then the harsh reality settled in.
And when they took that sheet, the coroner came, took that sheet off, and I see them shoes, I broke down. I broke down on my knees.
Her nerdy baby, who loved to joke, is how Danae described her son. And more than a decade later, their family is still left with questions.
Why? What caused that? What caused you to shoot my baby with a .38 caliber?
Why you should be walking around, huh? When we don't lost a child.
After prayer groups and counseling, Danae found the strength to fight back. She reached out to Crime Stoppers, which led to Fort Myers Police Cold Case Unit taking over the case. Last year, a billboard went up on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 4th Street, asking for tips in Desmond's case. And Danae tells me it showed that her baby's case wasn't forgotten.
peace. I have peace. Because somebody cares and we got cold case working.
In the matter of Desmond Jones, we feel as though this case has a great deal of potential to be resolved.
FMPD's Michael Rasty is the lead cold case investigator of this case.
Sadly, that every one of these cases leaves survivors. Primarily what we're trying to do in the cold case unit is simply give these people hope.
And filled with hope, no longer with grief and anger, Danae stood in the very spot she saw her son lying that night.
I haven't brought Desmond out since this April 27, 2011, but I brought him out today.
With his ashes in hand, she told me it's time.
My boy is free.
Free indeed.
Free indeed.
Free indeed, baby. I love you.
Free indeed.
I love you.
You, boy.
Now, Desmond's family did say that this past decade has been very hard for them. However, they are making it out the darkness, and they do say for the person who was responsible that they are praying for them.
And I'm sure this brings some kind of hope to other families that are going through this and the gun violence, that hopefully they'll find this sort of justice as well, no matter how many years it takes.
That is correct, Elise. I know when I was speaking with Desmond's grandmother, she did say that she wants the community to remember the football coach who was killed last year, Craig Turlin, Zachary Blue, and Deontay Redding.
Thank you so much for that report, Bree. We appreciate it. And we also want to follow up with gun violence happening across the country. So people are mourning tonight after more gun violence as it's rattled communities in Texas and Washington, D.C. The latest violence comes as 3 Tennessee lawmakers who've been in the headlines get set to meet with the president to discuss the future of gun reform. Shelley Molashley has the latest details on both those cases and what lawmakers are discussing tonight.
In Washington, D.C., police are searching for suspects in back-to-back shootings Friday night that left 8 people wounded, including a 12-year-old girl.
We're looking for a black sedan, possibly a Mercedes, who witnesses say drove through the block and indiscriminately fired upon individuals here in LeBron.
In Texas, authorities are investigating a shooting north of the town of Jasper that sent at least 9 teens to the hospital Sunday morning. It happened just after midnight at a home during an after-prom party. According to police, the victims range in age from 15 to 19 years old. The investigation there is ongoing. And on Monday, the so-called Tennessee Three, the lawmakers who drew national attention after protesting for stricter gun laws in the wake of Nashville's deadly school shooting last month, are set to meet with President Biden to talk about the gun crisis in America.
I think that we need emergency response because we're facing a crisis situation, and that in states like ours, we need help from our national leaders.
It is also to think about, beyond executive orders, what other authority exists within departments and agencies that the president is ultimately responsible for.
According to a recent survey by the Kaiser Family Foundation, worry and fear about gun violence are widespread in the United States, adding more than 1 in 5 adults has had a family member killed by a gun, including suicide. I'm Shelley Molashley reporting.
Fox 4 is following all of these cases as they develop. We'll update you on air and online as we learn more. Meanwhile, a Florida man is facing charges for a shooting that happened in North Carolina. 24-year-old Robert Singletary appeared in front of a court in Tampa for his first appearance. He's facing charges in Gastonia, North Carolina, where police say he shot a mother, father, and 6-year-old girl who were involved in some sort of disagreement. So police say Singletary was angry because a group of children were playing with a basketball, and when the ball rolled into his yard, he shot at the family multiple times.
He walked through his yard and he said he was going to kill the kid. He started to shoot him.
Singletary also fired at another neighbor and missed. He now faces 4 counts of attempted murder. He'll be extradited to North Carolina following his appearance. This also comes as the second person involved in a scary incident on a Tampa road has been arrested. So Florida Highway Patrol and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office say they received an anonymous tip from the public that helped them arrest the man involved. Take a look at that video. They say they arrested the man that you see in this video, Peter McLaren. So he's now facing felony charges for his involvement in the road rage incident that happened back on April 11th, where troopers say McLaren and a woman he was with attacked a woman's car after a small crash in Brandon, Florida. Troopers say the couple kicked and punched the car and also shot at the woman. McLaren's partner, Shania Cofield, was also arrested last week. Well, 3 people across the United States are accused of making online threats against the Volusia County Sheriff after he took a stand against a neo-Nazi hate group. So in February, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood, that you see here, well, he addressed a spike in anti-Semitic flyers and messages on literature and banners in the county. Afterward, police began investigating anonymous threats to try to kill the sheriff on social media. On a site called 4chan, a 23-year-old man in Connecticut accused of saying he will kill the sheriff was arrested Thursday. He's awaiting extradition to Volusia County. 2 men in their 30s were also charged in March. One of them in San Diego is accused of suggesting shooting Chitwood in the head. He's out on bond. The other in San Diego allegedly said he's planning to kill the sheriff by shooting him. Multiple firearms, ammo, and electronics were seized from his home. He's also awaiting extradition as well. Well, following up in the area of Pine Manor tonight, where a shooting happened just last week. Tonight, Lee County Sheriff's Office says deputies are now out in full force. Lee County Sheriff's Office posted this picture tonight. They say West District Patrol deputies are working to keep people safe in that area of Pine Manor. They have extra patrols out on the roads right now. Well, if you live over in DeSoto County, you could see some extra traffic tomorrow because of a bridge closure. So the Oak Hill Avenue Bridge will close tomorrow morning for repairs until further notice. There will be signs for detours to take on that road. Well, how about if you're planning to head to the beach in Naples? This is another heads up. Crews will have truck mats set up near Loudermilk Park for the new berm project. So far, they've moved more than 37,000 tons of sand. Monday, crews will put out orange fencing at the beach, and crews will place sand all next week. Also Monday, some of the walkways leading to the beach, well, they will be closed. Well, still ahead here on Fox 4 News tonight, a new lawsuit against Celebrity Cruises over how they handled a body on board. What the lawsuit claims about a death on board one of the company's boats.
Let me hear you say amen.
You stop bending the knee to God, you're going to bend the knee to something.
Because every child, born and unborn, is a sacred gift from God.
And presidential candidates are laying out their talking points as the campaign trail kicks off next week, what we're expecting to see as the GOP field widens. Andrew?
And with the rain around this next week, well, get some relief from the pollen. Still in moderate levels with tree and grasses, the main focus. I'll break down our rain chances coming up. That in a few minutes.
Welcome back. Well, a gay pride parade on the Treasure Coast is now canceled. This comes after the state passed a bill that bans children from adult performances. Joe Lopez with our Scripps station WPTV over in West Palm Beach explains more on how it's canceled.
Days before Pride weekend in Port St. Lucie.
How do you feel? Upset? Yeah. You like going to the events?
Families like the Mudge family.
We are not going to go somewhere where our whole entire family, including our children, are not welcome.
They say they've gone to Pride together for the last 5 years, a now broken tradition, as organizers say people attending must be 21 years or older, and the parade is now canceled because of the drag performers.
Always a family-friendly
event. I don't think it's ever become very provocative or anything like that. It's been very family oriented.
This year, these are new. The black tarps are new, and I'm assuming it's because they don't want people to be able to see what's going on inside.
Organizers say the move is them just erring on the side of caution amidst a series of bills and laws coming from Tallahassee and signed by Governor Ron DeSantis.
Last year, we had a ton of children. There were activities for kids, and it was a beautiful thing.
For Donna Pixley with Sanctuary LGBTQ+ Community Center,
it's very disappointing because the family is the whole community.
Despite the changes, staff encourages people to attend and support the event in whatever capacity it's available.
We're not protesting. We're coming out to show that we're not going to hide. We're going to show up. We're going to enjoy each other. We're going to be one.
Fox 4 is following this story. We'll continue to update you online as we learn more. Meanwhile, a woman is now suing Celebrity Cruises. She says the company didn't do enough to take care of her husband's body after he died on board. So Robert Jones died of a cardiac arrest in August of 2022 while on board the Celebrity Equinox. The ship left Fort Lauderdale for ports in the Eastern Caribbean. The suit says at some point while at sea, his body was moved from the ship's morgue to a cooler, which wasn't cold enough to preserve his body. The lawsuit claims the body was stored on a pallet on the floor and was in the advanced stages of decomposition. His wife now wants $1 million in compensation. Celebrity Cruises has not commented yet. Well, let's take a look at this. A news helicopter there in Hollywood Beach caught the moment a waterspout landed just offshore. The waterspout touched down 2 or 3 miles offshore and moved onshore as a tornado. News crews talked with people who were on the beach when it all happened. They say it was a pretty rare experience.
You don't see that very often. And it was like, it was very short-lived, so the chance of actually seeing one is slim.
The storm caused no damage, and luckily no one was hurt. Well, Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley is here to join us now to get a look at our forecast. I know, Andrew, we've been talking. It's been really hot days. We've seen these dry conditions. It looks like it's going to change with some more rain on the way.
Yeah, we're heading into a more active weather pattern here, Lisa. And even here tonight, we've been tracking some showers, all of that east of I-75 for you here tonight. But taking a look out towards Lehigh Acres, this is where we're seeing the heavier shower right now, basically between Lehigh and Felda at this time. We're going to see this continuing to slide off towards the east here tonight as we continue to see some shower chances kind of bubbling up here on and off through the next hour or so. And then I think we're pretty much done the rest of the night here. But again, partly cloudy skies for the most part here tonight. It's going to be a mild night. 70 degrees going to be that overnight low temperature for you. As for tomorrow, well, I'm going 86 degrees Fort Myers, which is about where we're supposed to be this time of year. 86 in Cape Coral, 85 down in Naples, as well as in Punta Gorda. You get inland to upper 80s expected there as well. But we are looking at a dry start tomorrow morning, but it's not going to stay that way. As you get in towards later in the afternoon, we're going to be watching the sea breeze bubbling up, some showers and thunderstorms up along I-75 there right around 1 o'clock. And as we get in towards the later part of the afternoon, we'll see these showers and storms build inland. There's 2 o'clock there. You can see, again, those same spots, Immokalee, LaBelle, Felda, all the way up and towards Arcadia. And these will continue to slide inland. You see a lot of the heaviest stuff is inland and off towards the East Coast as we get towards the 3 o'clock hour. But what we will be watching is some back building. So it means storms building back towards I-75 as we roll in towards the later portion of the evening. Now, I don't think it's going to reach all the way to the coastline, but it's something I'll be watching as the day day moves forward. But as for rainfall just tomorrow, well, we could see some localized amounts upwards of an inch, especially inland. But you are noticing if you are along the coastline itself, it should be relatively dry. We'll just see how far those storms move back later on into the evening hours. But something we'll be watching for sure because we need the rain. Still, I know a lot of folks still have compromised roofs, but from the drought perspective, we need the rain. So anywhere from 2 to 5 inches still below normal since the start of the year. And if you aren't getting the rain tomorrow, there's still rain chances the rest of the week. We're going to keep this active weather pattern in play. 50% chances Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday for you, all in the afternoon because we have several systems kind of moving through. So cold front kind of stalled out overhead of us. So it brings us more additional rain chances as we get in towards Tuesday. Another pulse of energy moves in Wednesday as a low drives off to the north of us and then drags a cold front in on Friday. Again, more rain chances. And then you get kind of more on Saturdays. You get the very tail end of that frontal boundary and then watch to get into Sunday, another front. So lots of energy moving through this week. It's going to be a very active week in terms of weather and hopefully it continues to knock out the drought. So every day, tracking scattered showers and thunderstorms there for you. Temperature-wise, going to be hanging out into the mid to upper 80s, about where we're supposed to be this time of year, at least.
Thank you, Andrew. Still ahead tonight, the U.S. is in the middle of a tense evacuation as the fighting in Sudan grows more intense. Why the United States decided to pull all personnel from the ground. Tonight, we continue to follow the ongoing evacuation of U.S. Embassy personnel as a civil war within the country escalates. U.S. military forces conducting a special operation to get American diplomats out of the region. So far, nearly 100 people are out of harm's way, and the military says no shots were fired. The Sudanese army and a rival paramilitary force are both vying for the control of the government, and any attempts at peace have been unsuccessful.
There is no electricity in the city. There is no water in households. food is fast running out.
The U.S. Embassy is now closed indefinitely. Other countries, including France and the United Kingdom, are also moving to evacuate personnel. There are currently no plans to rescue American citizens who are not diplomats. An estimated 16,000 United States citizens are registered with the embassy. Those trapped in the country are urged to take extreme caution. Meanwhile, over in Israel, tens of thousands turned out to protest for a 16th consecutive week against the government's plan to overhaul the judicial system. Carrying flags and banners, they vented their opposition to the plan, which they see as an attack on democracy. The weekly protests have continued across Israel, despite the prime minister announcing a pause on the reforms last month. Saturday's demonstrations come just before Israel marks its Memorial Day and Independence Day this week. Well, the happiest place on earth facing some news security concerns tonight. What we know about the former employee arrested after deputies claim he took pictures up women's skirts while they were enjoying the park.
Live from Fox 4, this is Breaking News.
So tonight we continue to follow up with breaking news that's taking place right now in Lee County. As Lee County Sheriff's Office says, there's a traffic crash. Let's take you right to that crash right now. Obviously, you could see right here that it involves a motorcycle. We have our Fox 4 photographer there on scene. We have learned that this is a fatal crash at this time. I just spoke with our photographer a short time ago. He says there is crime scene tape around that area. He's been trying to speak with deputies. All they can say is that this is is an ongoing investigation at this time. So if you want to know exactly where this is on San Carlos Boulevard. Lee County Sheriff's Office has confirmed that they shut down part of that area because of this crash. So those lanes that are shut down from Linda Loma Drive to Heidi Lee Lane there in Fort Myers. Lee County Sheriff's Office is advising drivers to seek an alternate route at this time until they give you further notice. Again, right now you are getting a live look at this breaking news. You can see that Lee County Sheriff's Office deputies are there, as well as the Florida Highway Patrol, as they continue to investigate this crash. Again, we are told by our photographer there is crime scene tape around that area, and this is a fatal crash involving a motorcyclist. We are continuing to try to find more information to see if there is possibly another car involved, because we can see right here that that crime scene tape goes around a driveway and around another vehicle. So again, we are working to try to get you more information. But again, that area there is closed down at San Carlos Boulevard. At this time, you're being asked to avoid that area while those investigators continue to stay there on scene. Also tonight, we're working to find out what caused this, a fire at a Fort Myers Beach condo. Let's take you right to that video that was sent to us by a Fox 4 viewer when the blaze was active. So this is at the Bay to Beach condos. It happened yesterday afternoon. Several units from Fort Myers Beach Fire Control District, as well as Iona McGregor Fire Department, they all responded to that scene.
This building is vacant right now and under construction from the hurricane. There are construction crews that are working here. The fire seems to have been contained to the roof. The area at the very top where you see the pitch part, the units below it have no fire inside, which is a good thing. And at this time, the crews on the roof have called the fire under control, and they're continuing to open up that part of the roof where the fire is hidden and make sure everything is out. We haven't had a chance to investigate it yet, so we've had no inclement weather, so there was power to the building, and that's been secured by Florida Power and Light. At this point, until we investigate it, we won't know if it was electrical in nature or if there was some other cause.
Well, my wife actually called me. I was across the bridge working on somebody's house, and she said there was a huge explosion at Bay to Beach. They informed us nobody's in the building. The building has been gutted, and they're rebuilding right now, but it's actually a blessing no one's in the building.
So again, this fire happened on the roof, no injuries. It happened around 12 p.m. yesterday. We had a lot of people calling us, sending us pictures, wanting to know what that was. Again, we do know that there were people working there on the second floor at the time. There was power in the building, but nobody's living there, of course, because of that damage due to Hurricane Ian. No cause as of now, but Fox 4 will continue to keep you updated as soon as we get more details. Also, people living in a South Florida condo, well, they've been ordered to leave their homes by Tuesday. Investigators at the Majestic Isle condominium there in North Bay Village say the building is unsafe because of termite damage and sagging floors. Reporter Jacqueline talked with people there packing up as much as they could to head out.
Just like overnight, pretty much like your whole life, and trying to find somewhere else to live.
Kevin Garcia has only been living at Majestic Isles in North Bay Village for 6 months. When he found out Thursday, along with a couple dozen others, they had to leave.
Living so close to Surfside, I guess I was relieved that we found out this way.
A recent report by structural engineers ahead of the building's 60-year recertification found cracks, floors sagging, and damage from water and termites. Because of the report, the city of North Bay Village stepped in to warn residents and gave them until Tuesday to vacate.
North Bay Village has a lot of buildings, but not enough to think that they're going to start to need to be disoccupied quickly. You know, I wouldn't be worried about that overnight.
Mayor Brent Latham is working to help residents, but he also addressed speculation that the building is being closed down because of developer interest.
So, you know, that's something that I actually think we're willing to address head on. We want to help these people rebuild their building and move back in. The building hasn't been condemned. It can be fixed.
In fact, he says the city of North Bay Village has resources to help, but it is ultimately the owner's responsibility to keep it up to date. And as residents are moving out of here, they say one of the big challenges is really finding a place right now in this housing market.
Parents' house. Yeah. Parents' house for now.
While residents have a couple days, Garcia isn't sure he'll be able to move everything.
What's the plan for you to move everything out? Will you make it by Tuesday?
Probably not, no. But we were given that Tuesday deadline. We're trying to do the best that we can with that.
5 units had already been evacuated after a leak from a roof drain triggered a partial ceiling collapse, and now everyone else has to be out by Tuesday. So donations are being collected right now through the Miami Foundation to help people who have been displaced. Also, 2 homes in Utah collapsed early Saturday morning. This is the video that you can see here. A roof topples over first on one house before its destruction, sliding earth beneath the homes, possibly because of melting snow. It may have caused instability. No one was reported injured. The homes had been evacuated last October because of dangerous conditions, but some of the homeowners' belongings were still inside of those homes at the time. City officials have been in contact with the developer of the homes for engineering information on the area's stability. Also, back here in Florida, a former Disney World employee is accused of taking upskirt videos of women. Deputies say a witness caught him in the act and that it happened at Hollywood Studios last month. And when they started asking him questions, he admitted to having hundreds of videos. Brian Didlake has details.
At Disney's Hollywood Studios, Orange County deputies say they responded after they got a call an employee was filming an upskirt video of a female back at the end of March. In this arrest affidavit, deputies say that employee was 26-year-old Jorge Diaz-Vega. In a recorded interview, deputies say Diaz-Vega admitted he had been taking videos of the dresses or skirts of unknown females in the Disney World theme parks for approximately 6 years. According to the report, Diaz told investigators he had an estimated 500 videos in his phone. Deputies say Diaz explained he took the video because it was, quote, hard to find them online. Diaz said he filmed multiple females in the Doc Ondar's store, where he says guests often went to buy lightsabers. A deputy wrote, quote, Diaz said taking videos was a guilty pleasure for him, as Diaz showed deputies multiple images on his phone. In the report, deputies say Diaz claimed to suffer from an illness, but specifics were redacted. Yet even with the diagnosis, deputies say Diaz knew right from wrong.
Jorge Diaz is currently free on $2,500 bond. Disney has not responded to the specific allegations, saying only that the individual does not work for the company. Our Governor Ron DeSantis is signing a bill changing the death penalty into law. A jury is no longer required to make a unanimous decision on whether or not to recommend the death penalty. Under the new law, convicted murderers could receive the death penalty if 8 out of the 12 jurors recommend it. However, a judge will have the ultimate discretion on whether a convict will be sentenced to life or death. The death penalty bill was filed on the hills of Parkland shooter Nicholas Cruz, narrowing escaping a death sentence.
It opens the door to cases where there's some doubt, certainly doubt about the sentence and maybe even doubt about the guilt.
Critics say the law raises the risk of ending the life of someone wrongfully convicted, but supporters say this will bring more justice to people who may have otherwise slid past a unanimous jury. Attorneys say this will likely change the legal strategy in these types of cases. New state laws are also impacting access to books. There's been a rise in book bans across our state as the school year gets close to its end. And one report says nearly a third of them are a direct result of new state laws. So the PEN America Index found about 1,500 books were banned in the first half of the 2022 to 2023 school year. This increase in banned books is higher than it was in the 2 semesters prior to that. The most targeted books were about self-discovery, racism, and gender identity. The most restrictive bans are in our state of Florida here, as well as Texas, Missouri, Utah, and South Carolina. Former President Donald Trump has a significant lead over other potential candidates for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. That's according to a new NBC poll, which says among those who say they would vote in the Republican presidential primary next year, 46% would back Trump out of a list of 7 possible candidates. 31% chose Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. However, the poll finds broad opposition to Trump's campaign among all adults, with 60% saying he should not run for presidency. The poll also said that 26% of Americans think the president should run a second term, while 70% say that he shouldn't. And as we know, the former president made an appearance here in Southwest Florida this weekend as part of his pre-campaign trail. So the former president visited the Calusa Convention Center, where he spoke at the Lee County GOP annual Lincoln Reagan dinner. The dinner is a fundraising event here in Lee County for the Lee County Republican Party. Before Friday's speech, Trump's campaign slammed Governor Ron DeSantis over inflation and the cost of housing here in our state of Florida. But in his speech last night, Donald Trump didn't mention Governor DeSantis much in that speech on Friday. He also made a stop at Downtown House of Pizza to grab a pizza slice on his way out. Keep in mind, this was on Friday night. The restaurant and the streets were also packed because it was a music fest taking place, and a lot of people also stopped down there to get a glimpse at Donald Trump as he shook hands and ate a slice of pizza. Meanwhile, Biden could make his 2024 re-election campaign official as soon as this week, as the GOP side has a busy weekend for presidential hopefuls in Iowa. Fox News correspondent Alexandra Hoff has that story.
Well, this event was the first major push for support from the evangelical community, so the theme centered around faith, education, and defining their pro-life stance.
If you believe, like I do, that America should celebrate our founding fathers and not cancel them, let me hear you say amen.
You stop bending the knee to God, you're going to bend the knee to something. That is what's going on in our country right now.
By golly, we're going to have that 2-cent plan, and we are going to save America.
Former Vice President Mike Pence was also among speakers at the Iowa Faith and Freedom Coalition spring kickoff. He, along with Senator Tim Scott, are expected to announce their bids for the White House in the coming weeks. In speaking with reporters, Pence attempted to separate himself from his former running mate on the issue of abortion. Former President Trump addressed the crowd virtually just days after his campaign received pro-life backlash for not endorsing a national week limit for abortions.
I will stand proudly in defense of innocent life, just as I did for 4 very powerful, strong years, because every child, born and unborn, is a sacred gift from God.
A new NBC News poll shows that even with an indictment, 2/3 of Republican primary voters say they support former President Trump, while 31% reported Florida Governor Ron DeSantis as their first choice in 24. So where do other candidates find the motivation? Former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson answered that question today on Fox News Sunday.
What America does not want is another repeat of 2020, where we have Joe Biden and Donald Trump running against each other.
The Iowa caucus is still 9 months away. Nikki Haley has reportedly visited the state 17 times since announcing her run for president. Governor DeSantis, who has not declared his candidacy, attended the Utah GOP conference yesterday. In Washington, Alexandria Hoff, Fox News.
Fox 4 is, of course, following the 2023 race as the campaigns develop. We'll be on the lookout for Biden's potential announcement as well. We'll bring you more updates on air and online as we learn more. Still coming up tonight, the controversy over a Bud Light sponsorship has risen to a new level of concern.
Like this ridiculous thing with Bud Light by trying to push the transgenderism.
What threats the company has received following its decision to partner with a TikTok influencer. Andrew?
And we'll take a look at the marine forecast for tomorrow. Seas 1 to 2 feet, light chop, Gulf temperatures 82, but I'm tracking shower storm chances this week. I'll break it down coming right up.
Welcome back. So the controversy over a Bud Light campaign featuring a popular transgender TikTok influencer has taken on a life of its own. I'm sure a lot of you have heard about this. So thousands of people are now protesting the beer distribution company because of its inclusion of TikToker Dylan Mulvaney, popular for taking the public stage along with the transition journey. Famous artists like Kid Rock protesting the beer company's decision. Now the company has received bomb threats, including one at a facility there in Los Angeles that caused Anheuser-Busch to evacuate the building and get a bomb squad to sweep the location. The White House getting involved as well, along with Florida's own governor, Ron DeSantis.
It's clear that that level of violence and vitriol against transgender Americans has to stop.
It's a one-off, like this ridiculous thing with Bud Light by trying to push the transgenderism.
Anheuser-Busch, the parent company of Bud Light, said in a statement that they never intended to divide people. Instead, they want to bring people together with their popular beer. And right now, we want to get right over to Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. Andrew, we've been talking about these hot days. I'm sure a lot of people would rather get outside and enjoy the weather, but it looks like we have some rain on the way. And I know you said, you know, it's kind of difficult to say because we still know a lot of people here in Southwest Florida still have those tarps on their roofs trying to get them fixed.
Yeah, thousands of people probably still have those blue tarps on the roof. And now is the time, if you do have those compromised roofs, as we head in towards the rainy season, got to officially starts about May 15th or so, but we got a little bit of time, but this week is going to be very active, and we're already seeing that here tonight. It's already seeing some showers out there. Most of that's kind of just last little bit there towards Lehigh Acres, Alva, but still, the thing tonight is, well, kind of a precursor of what's going to be coming here the rest of the week. So again, showers kind of diminishing here the rest of the night, though I can't rule out maybe a stray shower or two over the next couple hours. But overall speaking, partly cloudy skies, 70 degrees is going to be that overnight low temperature for you. Now, as we move in towards your Monday, I am expecting temperatures to be about 86 degrees or so here. Fort Myers, Cape Coral, down in Naples, Punta Gorda, looking about 85. You get inland, upper 80s is expected, but we will be tracking shower storm chances, especially into the afternoon. Let me time this out for you here. 7 o'clock in the morning, mostly sunny skies. That continues into the about noontime hour, but as we're getting towards about 1 o'clock, we're going to be watching right up along I-75 for those showers and thunderstorms to start to bubble on up there. Now, tomorrow we do expect winds to be a little bit more dominant out of the west, which means those storms will be pushing off to the east as we get in towards the afternoon. There's 2 o'clock, again, really getting going, and then pushing out towards Lake Okeechobee and focusing really off towards the east coast. Now, as we get in closer to the evening, what I am going to be watching is if these storms start to backbuild, which means that they push back to the west, and you can see some of that occurring as we get in towards the 6 o'clock hour there. So I don't think it's going to reach all the way back to I-75, but it is something we're going to be watching. But I think most of the storm activity will be inland for us on your Monday. And if you're looking for more storm chances, we're going to be watching that again for you on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even in towards the weekend, as daily storm chances are going to be anywhere from 40 to 50% the rest of the week.
Right now, we want to take you back to the breaking news that we had at the top of the hour. Right now, you're getting a live look at a motorcycle crash that is happening over at San Carlos Boulevard. This is an investigation that's taking place. So what we know right now is this is a fatal motorcycle crash. Our Fox 4 photographer, Daniel Cruz, is there on scene, and he tells us that there is crime scene tape around that area. Now we know that these investigators have been there for at least an hour and a half. He's kind of trying to show you around this area. As you can see, there's still that crime scene tape that's surrounding a car and a driveway and the motorcycle there. We'll have more coming up here on Fox 4 News at 11.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Thank you so much for joining us for Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock. I'm Elise Chingiri. Right now, we want to take you to some breaking news out of Lee County, as Lee County Sheriff's Office as well as Florida Highway Patrol are on scene of a fatal motorcycle crash. This is happening over on San Carlos Boulevard, where you can see investigators are there on scene trying to piece this all together. So the crash has shut down lanes from Linda Loma Drive to Heidi Lee Lane there in Fort Myers. This is a live look of this investigation right now as our photographer Daniel Cruz is there on scene. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is advising you drivers to seek an alternate route until further notice. Again, we can see that there is a motorcycle that is still laying there on the ground. We have since learned that this is a fatal crash. Our photographer there on scene has told us that there is crime scene tape surrounding another vehicle and a driveway throughout that area. We have reached out to Florida Highway Patrol as well as Lee County Sheriff's Office to try to get more information for you tonight to try to find out if this was just the motorcycle involved or if there was another car involved. Again, you are being asked to avoid this area as they are still there on scene. As you are getting a live look, you could see that crime scene tape right there. Again, our photographers there on scene will bring you more information as soon as we have it. Tonight, we're also tracking a new warning from the Glades County Sheriff's Office as a brush fire in the area of Fish Eating Creek is causing some pretty heavy smoke and making it hard to see on State Road 78 East. Florida Highway Patrol and the Department of Transportation, well, they're currently redirecting traffic. The Sheriff's Office says you can expect delays and road closures as first responders continue to contain that burn. Meanwhile, the Fire Control District says the fire that you see here was about 2 acres large and spread pretty quickly, threatening a structure. The fire department says they were able to put that fire out within a few hours. This happened over in Lehigh Acres yesterday. I know a lot of you, our viewers, were calling us concerned about this. We are hearing no injuries have been reported at this time. Again, these pictures were sent to us from a Fox 4 viewer. And let's give you a live look right now over the top of the luminary there in downtown Fort Myers, overlooking the Caloosahatchee River. You could see the moon from a pretty distance there. We want to get right to Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. We're talking about some pretty dry weather that we've been dealing with. It can obviously fuel those type of brush fires, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had the rain about, let's say, a week ago. I guess it was last Sunday into Monday, and since then it's been relatively dry. Just some little shower activity here and there, very similar to what we've had here tonight, with some showers and storms moving on through. Now a lot of that moved through the Lehigh Acres area actually earlier here tonight. We're just kind of seeing the residual little shower activity, but check out rainfall totals here this evening. Some of us closer to Babcock Ranch got about 2 inches worth of rain, as well as down south near Manatee Park, and then just lesser amounts, about anywhere from a half inch to an inch worth of rain there, pockets near Ave Maria, Immokalee, and then in the Gateway area. So again, needed rain, but we have more rain on the way as we get towards this week, so which is obviously good news. We're continuing to knock out those very dry conditions in Lee and Charlotte, DeSoto, Sarasota County, and seeing better conditions of late in Glades County and Collier, but we need some more rain. So I do expect some of that to come tomorrow, a lot of that inland tomorrow, as we'll be tracking scattered rain chances starting by 10 o'clock in the morning and continue well into the evening. I'll break down that day for you coming up in just a few minutes.
A mother is holding on to hope of finding her son's killer. Desmond Jones was only 13 years old when he was shot and killed back in 2011. Now the Fort Myers Police Department is taking over the investigation. Our Fox 4's Brianna Brownlee spoke with the Desmond's family and investigators to find out what this means for the future of this case.
11 years ago, angry. I was angry.
The emotion Danae Henley remembers feeling right after seeing her youngest child and only son lying lifeless on the pavement with a bloodstained sheet over him after being fatally shot.
One bullet.
Take him away. He was 13. He a child like you.
He was a 13-year-old boy, not doing anything wrong, doing what 13-year-olds do out in his neighborhood, fairly benign, you know, hanging out with his friends and associates, and he was met by gunfire.
Desmond was barely in his teen years when he was shot in the head in front of this lot, which used to be a home, while visiting a friend. And that night, when his family arrived, they held out hope that it wasn't him.
I said, it might not be him. That's it, that might not be him. That might not be him.
But then the harsh reality settled in.
And when they took that sheet, the coroner came, took that sheet off, and I see them shoes, I broke down. I broke down on my knees.
Her nerdy baby who loved to joke is how Danae described her son. And more than a decade later, their family is still left with questions.
Why? What caused that? What caused you to shoot my baby with a .38 caliber?
Why you should be walking around, huh? When we don't lost a child.
After prayer groups and counseling, Danae found the strength to fight back. She reached out to Crime Stoppers, which led to Fort Myers Police Cold Case Unit taking over the case. Last year, a billboard went up on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard and 4th Street, asking for tips in Desmond's case. And Danae tells me it showed that her baby's case wasn't forgotten.
Peace. I have peace. Because somebody cares and we got cold case working.
In the matter of Desmond Jones, we feel as though this case has a great deal of potential to be resolved.
FMPD's Michael Rasty is the lead cold case investigator of this case.
Sadly, that every one of these cases leaves survivors. Primarily what we're trying to do in the cold case unit is simply give these people hope.
And filled with hope, no longer with grief and anger, Danae stood in the very spot she saw her son lying that night.
I haven't brought Desmond out since this April 27, 2011. I brought him out today.
With his ashes in hand, she told me it's time.
My boy is free.
Free indeed.
Free indeed.
Free indeed, babe. I love you.
Free indeed.
I love you.
Boy.
Bree tells us that Desmond's mother and grandmother both say these past 11+ years have been hard, but they have finally made it out of the darkness, and they say to whoever did this, they pray their soul will be saved. Also, a Florida man is facing charges tonight for a shooting that happened in North Carolina. 24-year-old Robert Singletary, who you see here, appeared in front of a court in Tampa, Florida, for his first appearance. He's facing charges in Gastonia, North Carolina, where police say he shot a mother, father, and 6-year-old girl who were involved in some sort of disagreement. Police say Singletary was angry because a group of children were playing with a basketball, and when the basketball rolled into his yard, well, he shot at the family multiple times.
He walked through his yard and he said he was going to kill the kid. He started to shoot him.
Singletary also fired another neighbor and missed. He now faces 4 counts of attempted murder. He'll be extradited to North Carolina following his appearance. And the second person involved in a scary incident over in Tampa, a road rage incident, has been arrested. Florida Highway Patrol and the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office say they received an anonymous tip from the public that helped them arrest the man you see in this video, Peter McLaren. He's now facing felony charges for his involvement in the road rage incident that happened on April 11th, where troopers say McLaren and a woman he was with attacked a woman's car after a small crash in Brandon, Florida. Troopers say the couple kicked and punched the car and also shot at a woman. McLaren's partner, Shania Cofield, was arrested last week. Well, 3 people across the United States are accused of making online threats against the Volusia County Sheriff after he took a stand against a neo-Nazi hate group. In February, Volusia County Sheriff Mike Chitwood addressed a spike in anti-Semitic flyers and messages on literature and banners in the county. Afterwards, police began investigating anonymous threats to kill the sheriff. A 23-year-old man in Connecticut accused of saying he will kill the sheriff was arrested Thursday and is awaiting extradition to Volusia County. 2 men in their 30s were also charged back in March. One of them in San Diego is accused of suggesting shooting the sheriff in the head. He's out on bond. The other in San Diego allegedly said he's planning to kill the sheriff by shooting him. Multiple firearms, ammo, and electronics were seized from his home. He's awaiting extradition. Back here in Southwest Florida, the area of Pine Manor is what we're talking about, where a shooting happened just last week. Now, Lee County Sheriff's deputies are out in full force, according to LCSO. So the Lee County Sheriff's Office posted this photo tonight as they say West District Patrol deputies are working to keep people safe. They have extra patrols out on the roads throughout that area tonight. Plus, tonight we're working to find out what caused this. Let's take a look. This is a fire that happened over at Fort Myers Beach Condo. You're looking at video sent to us by a Fox 4 viewer. This is at the Bay to Beach condos that happened around noon yesterday. Several units from Fort Myers Beach Fire Control District and Iona McGregor Fire Department all responded.
This building is vacant right now and under construction from the hurricane. There are construction crews that are working here. The fire seems to have been contained to the roof. The area at the very top where you see the pitch part, the units below it have no fire inside, which is a good thing. And at this time, the crews on the roof have called the fire under control, and they're continuing to open up that part of the roof where the fire is hidden and make sure everything is out. We haven't had a chance to investigate it yet, so we've had no inclement weather, so there was power to the building, and that's been secured by Florida Power and Light. At this point, until we investigate it, we won't know if it was electrical in nature or if there was some other cause.
Well, my wife actually called me. I was across the bridge working on somebody's house, and she said there was a huge explosion at Bay to Beach. They informed us nobody's in the building. The building has been gutted, and they're rebuilding right now, but it's actually a blessing no one's in the building.
Fox 4 will, of course, keep you updated on this investigation on air and online at fox4now.com. Well, if you live in DeSoto County, you could see some extra traffic happening tomorrow because of a bridge closure. The Oak Hill Avenue Bridge will close tomorrow morning for repairs until further notice. Don't worry, there will be signs for detours to take on that road. How about if you're planning to head to the beach over in Naples? Well, this is another heads up. Crews will have truck mats set up near Loudermilk Park for a new berm project. So far, they've moved more than 36 27,000 tons of sand. Monday, crews will put orange fencing at the beach, and crews will place sand all next week. Also Monday, some of the walkways leading to the beach will be closed. So a heads up if you're heading to the beach there in Naples. And tomorrow, Lee Health is taking a big step in the recovery process after Hurricane Ian. The Dunbar clinic that was destroyed in the storm will officially reopen at its new permanent location to celebrate Lee Health as they're celebrating this ceremony, as you can see on your screen there. Andrew?
Keep that umbrella with you because we're going to be tracking showers, thunderstorms on the way for us. I'll break down your all-day forecast and the active week ahead coming up.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Thank you so much for joining us for Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock. I'm Elise Chingiri. Right now, we want to take you to some breaking news out of Lee County, as Lee County Sheriff's Office as well as Florida Highway Patrol are on scene of a fatal motorcycle crash. This is happening over on San Carlos.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 11.
Thank you so much for staying with us for Fox 4 News at 11 o'clock. I'm Elise Chingari. Right now, we want to get you back to that breaking news that's happening out of Lee County tonight of a fatal crash there on scene. We want to get right to Fox 4's Brianna Brownlee. She's live there on scene. Bri, I know you just got there. I know those investigators have been there for more than the last hour. What else can you tell us there tonight?
Here on the scene of that fatal motorist crash, and as of now, LCSO cannot tell us much. I just spoke with one of the deputies just about like 3 minutes ago. All he could tell me at this time is the fact that this is an ongoing investigation. I will scoot out the way so you can take a look at the scene. Of course, it is still pretty active. Like I said, all we know right now is that it is fatal. How many fatalities, we do not know. The gender, we don't know. The cause, we still don't even know. But one thing that we have seen on the scene is that we did see a car that does have yellow police crime tape around it. Now, how that's affiliated with the scene, we are not sure yet, but we are here on the scene trying to figure out exactly what led up to this. But I'm gonna kick it back to you guys in studio. Live in Fort Myers, Brianna Brownlee, Fox 4.
Bree, thank you so much. We do know that drivers are being asked to avoid that area there. So that is on San Carlos Boulevard as they continue to investigate. So right now we want to get to another story. This is involving a cruise ship. So a woman is now suing Celebrity Cruises. She says the company didn't do enough to take care of her husband's body after he died on board. So Robert Jones died of a cardiac event in August of 2022 while on the Celebrity Equinox. The ship left for Fort Lauderdale for different ports throughout the Eastern Caribbean. The suit says at some point while at sea, his body was moved from the ship's morgue to a cooler, which wasn't cold enough to preserve his body. The lawsuit claims the body was stored on a pallet on the floor and was in advanced stages of decomposition. His wife now wants $1 million in compensation. Celebrity Cruises has not yet commented. And former President Donald Trump has a significant lead over other potential candidates for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination. That's according to a new NBC poll, which says among those who say they would vote in the Republican presidential primary next year, 46% would back Donald Trump out of a list of 7 possible candidates. 31% chose our Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. However, the poll finds broad opposition to Trump's campaign among all adults, with 60% saying he should not run for president. The poll also said that 26% of Americans think Biden should run for the second term, while 70% say he should not. We want to check back in with Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley. Andrew, it looks like there's a lot of rain that's going to hit us here in Southwest Florida this week.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty active week, Elise. We need it. Not need it for those folks that still have those tarps on the roof. And obviously, it's something to think about as we continue to move ever so closer to a rainy season. Maybe you want to start thinking about making those emergency repairs on your roof if you don't have a plan already established. Now, we do have, again, some rain on the radar here this evening. A lot of that is now starting to fizzle out, but a few little shower activity still a little bit there in Lehigh at this time. But for the most part, just a few showers, partly cloudy skies, getting down about 70 degrees here through the overnight hours. Now, looking ahead to your Monday, though, I'm going mid-80s. This is exactly where we're supposed to be this time of year, but it's still a warm day. 86 degrees, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, 85 down in Naples, Punta Gorda. You get inland. How about 86 in Moorhaven, 87 in Lewiston. Now, in the morning hours, we are expecting some sunshine out there. That's not going to last all day long, especially for our friends inland. Let me time this out for you here. So here's noontime, and you'll notice a little bit more partly sunny skies, but the sea breeze is going to kick in right around I-75 about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And that's where we do expect showers and storms to start to initialize, and then you get later into the afternoon, those storms mature and start to move inland through about the evening hours here. So once you get in towards about 3 o'clock, a lot of that storm activity will be up along the spine of Florida towards Lake O and then off towards the East Coast. But what I'm going to be watching as we get in towards the evening hours is, do these storms then backbuild, push back towards the west here as we roll in towards the evening hours. Now, how far do they go? Do they get all the way back to I-75? We'll have to see. But I do expect most of the storm activity tomorrow to be inland off to the east of I-75. So how much rain are we talking? Well, localized amounts, upwards of an inch worth of rain, but you're noticing not a whole lot is expected up along the coastline. So if you're going to say the beaches tomorrow, you should be okay. Inland communities are bringing in more of that needed rain to get us out of the droughts. Anywhere from still 2 to 5 inches below normal, including the wet conditions that we've had so far for the month of April. Imagine if we didn't have all that rain, how bad we would be, again, without that. But anyway, this week we are looking at more rain chances on the way outside of Monday. 50% rain chances expected Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and even Friday and into next weekend. Let me show you what's going on here. So why are we expecting this active pattern? Well, we had a frontal boundary kind of stalled out overhead of us here tonight, and that's going to hang out over the next day or so here and continue to lead to a little bit more instability. And then we're watching another push of energy moving in as we get in towards Wednesday, and as an area of low pressure moves to the north of us, kind of backs off a little bit Thursday, and then you get in towards Friday, a cold front gets dragged through, bring us another chance of rain. And then there's another front right behind it as we get in towards Sunday. So again, continue to see these ongoing rain chances as we move through the 7-day forecast. And this is just one of our model projections through the week here. And you can see localized amounts upwards of 1 to 2, maybe 3 inches of rain as we move through the week, though. But again, majority of it's going to be inland and off towards the East Coast for us. But again, it's needed rain. We'll take anything that we can get. 7-day forecast, you can see that rain there in the forecast there, as we're going to see those temperatures continuing in the mid-80s.
Andrew, thank you. And tonight, the president has not responded to Governor Ron DeSantis' request to declare Broward County a disaster area yet. Broward County saw more than 2 feet of rainfall, leading to record flooding more than a week ago. And the area is still dealing with those impacts. The disaster declaration would make people who live in the area who have home or property damage eligible for loans and other assistance. The state says close to 1,000 homes were severely damaged. The flooding also closed the airport for almost 2 days. Gas deliveries to port were also slowed down, which of course caused those backup lines at the pump. Governor Ron DeSantis and the Biden administration, well, they've worked together before. This includes during Hurricane Ian, which, as we know, killed more than 140 people and left thousands of people in our area homeless. They also worked together in 2021 after the Surfside condo collapse. Well, make sure you stay with us. We will catch you up on the top stories of the day when we come back from this break. Your time now, 11:25. Let's take a look at your top stories tonight. We want to give you a look at this breaking news that we've brought you here for the last hour. So there's a traffic crash that shut down a part of San Carlos Boulevard. You can see that these investigators are there on scene trying to piece this all together. We're being told the crash has shut down lanes from Linda Loma Drive to Heidi Lee Lane there in Fort Myers. The Lee County Sheriff's Office is advising drivers to seek an alternate route until further notice. LCSO says they'll provide more updates as they become available. We know that LCSO is there as well as the Florida Highway Patrol investigating this motorcycle crash. We also want to take you to an update here as we know that a man has been arrested after the Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office received an anonymous tip from the public that helped them lead to the man who they say is in the video. They say he's now facing felony charges for his involvement in a road rage incident. We also want to take you over to Pine Manor where a shooting happened last week as tonight Lee County Sheriff's Office deputies say they're in full force trying to keep that area safe and they have extra patrols there on the road tonight. Well, for myself, Fox 4 meteorologist Andrew Shipley, everyone working hard here behind the scenes, we appreciate you tuning in to Fox 4 News at 10 and 11 o'clock. Have a good night and a great Monday.